Racing takes place out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. We are racing on the summer course Tuesday, the 6th of February 2024. We've got an 8-race program and race number 1 gets underway at 12:35 over 1200 meters. It's a maiden juvenile plate for the fillies that will get the day started. And having a look at the card, it does look to be quite a decent card. And joining me for the preview show is Graham Hawkins. And Graham, how are you doing?
All good, thank you, Rahil. Yeah, it does look like quite a nice card, a mixture of races where we could possibly go light and then 1 or 2 tough races later on in the afternoon, but it does look like a very nice card.
Well, certainly, let's get into it because race number 1, I see that we begin with an odds-on favourite here from the Justin Snaith yard. Grant van Niekerk takes the ride. She's a 2-year-old daughter of Water Winter. Grant van Niekerk aboard, ran 5th on debut behind Sahara Cat. That form line has obviously held up, and she's a filly that can only improve and progress with that performance. Is she a banker to start off the day?
Yes, I think we could bank her in the first 2 legs of the bipot. That's the way I read it. Obviously, with 7 first-timers in a field of 10, there's not a hell of a lot to work with here. But as you mentioned, number 2, Dark Winter, pleasing debut, winner 5th behind Sahara Cat. A couple of winners have come directly out of that form line. She will benefit from the experience. It's the Justin Snaith Grant van Niekerk combination, being priced up quite short in the market at around 7.5 to 10. But I expect number 2, Dark Winter, with the benefit of that experience, to be hard to beat. Her market rival is interesting. Number 3, Symphony in White, is a half-sister to the Guineas winner Snow Pilot. But the comments suggest that Symphony in White will need the experience, so I'm not sure that she can be expected to make a winning debut, and that strengthens the case of number 2, Dark Winter. Number 8, Eureka Diamond, is in single figures, but Justin Snaith suggests that she will need the run. And an interesting one is number 9, Maritzburg Memory, by One World, out of a Grade 1 winner in the form of Mighty High. But again, the comments are not that encouraging. So I think we can confidently go with number 2, Dark Winter, to get us underway at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth.
Currently at around 7 to 10 in the market, and that's going to be the top selection in race number 1. Moving along to race number 2 will be the start of the place accumulator, 1200 meters the trip. It's a maiden juvenile plate, 1:10 is the off time. Favourite is 1 Stripe at even money. There's been quite a bit of some betting support for number 1 Golden Destiny from around 3 to 1 in the market, shortening to 18 to 10. It's then 6 to 1 and better bar those. Now we've obviously got to respect the support for the Dean Calamea inmate 2-year-old son of Rafif out of a Karari mare. So he's definitely one that could be quite forward on debut, and given that there has been support, that strengthens his chances even more.
Yes, one must obviously respect the market support for Golden Destiny. He could be anything. The money speaks volumes. But I do believe that number 6, 1 Stripe, is going to be a tough nut to crack. Under 2 lengths behind Roman Agent on debut. We've seen what Roman Agent has gone on to do. There was a lot of talk about 1 Stripe, although the computer form suggests that he was a 100,000 Rand purchase at the August 2-year-old sale, which is correct. He was resold at the ready-to-run sale for 1.4 million Rand. He put up such an impressive gallop that Vaughan Marshall described it as one of the best he's ever seen. 1 Stripe was back to make a winning debut, but didn't disgrace himself. I expect him to go forward. And again, that experience under the belt will help him along the way. So Golden Destiny, I think, is going to have to be really special to lower the colours of number 6, 1 Stripe. Again, I've gone with number 6, 1 Stripe as both a bipot and a place accumulator banker. But of course, you have to respect the support for number 1 Golden Destiny. He may well be something special. The rest of them don't appear to be attracting too much interest. Number 7, Aristotle, is at 6 to 1, and he could have an each-way shout. The comment's not totally discouraging, so watch out for a fair run from number 7, Aristotle, one that you need to throw into your exactas, your trifectas, and quartets. It's only a field of 9, so I'm going with number 6, 1 Stripe to beat home the well-backed number 1 Golden Destiny. But if it were to go the other way around, I guess we couldn't be too surprised, because there is a lot of confidence in the market for Golden Destiny. But I'm going to put my hopes on the experienced number 6, 1 Stripe.
The experience certainly counts for a lot when it comes to these juveniles, and 1 Stripe could put his best foot forward in this contest after being a runner that there was quite a bit of talk around on debut. Race number 3, The start of the pick 6, 1,000 meters the trip. This is a maiden plate, 13:45 is the off time. And we've had a couple of scratchings here. I see that Flash Lightning is out. And he's obviously a runner that Richard Fourie was set to take the ride, so he's not riding. And I see number 2, Iguguletu, is also scratch, Graham. So that obviously makes the field a lot weaker now. And this was counter-attack. Aldo De Meyer, Candice Bass-Robinson, good improvement last time out behind Champagne Mac. Beaten 4 lengths, having to concede weight to Champagne Mac on that occasion. And with that last start on the belt, he obviously sets a standard. And you've got this horse, Tams Knight, who's improved with these 2 starts to date. So he looks to be the obvious danger.
Well, I'm shocked to hear you tell me that number 2, Iguguletu, has been scratched, because I checked the scratchings not long before we started recording the show, which is obviously on the Monday morning prior to race day. Well, that changes things entirely, because I was quite curious about the original riding arrangements, which had Aldo De Meyer aboard counter-attack. He is the stable jockey and went for counter-attack at the expense of Iguguletu, who at the time of the scratching was a firm favourite. So that changes everything. Counter-attack and Tams Knight are the only 2 with any real form, so it does now look like a match race in a very modest lineup. Counter-attack will get the vote to beat home number 6, Tams Knight. Initially, as you will see in my bipot perm, I included all 3 on the basis I'd rather come through 2 out of 3 than possibly 1 out of 2. So I'm going to leave all 3 in, because that's what I've decided. Obviously, the tote favourite, you'll double up with the Iguguletu. But just in case they don't run first and second as expected, I'm going to throw them both in. I'll keep to that formula, but counter-attack has now got to be the top choice ahead of Tams Knight. Tams Knight, of course, can continue to improve, but there'll be no direct winners out of the Night Bomber form line. And of course, he ran second in a work riders race last time out. Ran on very nicely, over 1,000 meters behind Casino Ace. He's only had the 2 starts, going the right way, so he could improve sufficiently to beat what is now, as we've already said, a very, very weak maiden plate. But counter-attack has got to be the top choice.
Yeah, that's horse number 1 from the Candice Bass-Robinson yard with Aldo De Meyer aboard. Race number 4, open maiden for fillies and mares over 1,200 meters. And having a look at race number 4, well, Tequila Sky tops the boards, and this is the mount of Richard Fourie for the Andre Nel yard. Close up in her last 2 starts, she's at 16-10. Number 1, Strata, continues to earn in the maiden ranks. She's at 2-1. Spirit Guide is at 6-1. That's found a bit of support from 8s. It's an 8-1 about Stealing the Thunder, 10-1, and Better About those. Now, given it's an open maiden, obviously the weights differ with each and every run in this contest, Graham. But what do you make of race number 4? Is it a race where you're going wide, or you've just gone with a few runners here?
Now, I think you can limit your selections here. Strata, of course, just always does enough to keep us interested. Has had 12 starts in the maiden ranks, but 10 of those have been in the top 4. So she's holding her form well on the strength of that last run, which was admittedly over 1,000 meters and not 1,200 meters. She finished behind Tequila Sky. Richard Fourie has now picked up the ride on Tequila Sky in the absence of Cornet Orpha. So Tequila Sky gets the vote to confirm that form ahead of Strata. But they've both been a little disappointing. You would have expected both to have won by now. I very much respect the chances of number 4, Spirit Guide. I was quite pleased with her debut. She ran in a very, very strong race. That was when Kailami Girl trotted up by nearly 5 lengths. So Spirit Guide was on top of the placed runners, and she was drawn out on the grandstand side of the track down the straight course. I thought it was quite a nice debut. I have chatted to Dean Canema. He quite likes this daughter of Give Me the Green Light. So you can expect a lot of improvement from number 4, Spirit Guide. And given the fact that Strata and Tequila Sky clearly have their limitations, I wouldn't be surprised to see Spirit Guide improve sufficiently to win a race of this nature. So you can't leave her out of your pick 6 calculations. Number 2, Stealing the Thunder. 3 indifferent runs, purely on the Trey Chic form. She's held by Strata, but she's at less exposure than Strata, so she's got a couple of lengths to make up on Strata, but she could well improve sufficiently to do that, so you've got to throw her into the mix as well. And then if you are looking for a complete roughie in the race that's down at the bottom of the weights in one of these open maidens, as you've mentioned, number 11, Red Rose of Lancaster, has only got 51.5 on her back. Now, she's plummeted 12 points down the ratings. That normally wouldn't make any kind of a difference in a maiden plate, but being an open maiden, she did show some promise in her second start when fourth behind among the clouds. That was a very, very long time ago on the 12th of July. But there might be something there, and of just 51.5, she might be good enough to give a little bit of cheek. But I'm going to go with number 7, Tequila Sky, to win it. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. My second choice would be number 4, Spirit Guide. I'm expecting a lot of improvement from her. Then obviously number 1, Strata, to run into the money as she always does. Then number 2, Stealing the Thunder. Those would be the top 4 choices. But these open maidens often produce a horror result, and maybe number 11, Red Rose of Lancaster, could be the source of that horror result.
Graham, I'm glad that you mentioned number 11, Red Rose of Lancaster, because last time out we obviously did the show and you were of the opinion that F8 could be a potential bank on the day, and you were spot on there. But I just thought that this individual with just 52.5 on the back from a 2 draw, thought she could show a bit more than what she was showing in her previous starts, but she obviously failed to feature. And I see the blinkers are going on for her race on Tuesday, so that could obviously spark some improvement. And as you mentioned, 51.5, she could be a complete outsider to include in the player. And in terms of the pick 6, would you be tempted to include her?
Yes, I would. Look, you're always looking for kind of a result in these open maidens. So the first leg is quite limited. You need only include 2 in the first leg of the pick 6, the way I see it. So if you're going to throw in 4, you might as well throw in 5 into the second leg of the pick 6 and hope that you do get one of those results that see the exit of many tickets. And I'm looking through past the top 4. She makes most appeal. I'm interested in the fact that she steps back to 1,200 meters, and as you say, she's got the blinkers, so there might be something to come there.
There's certainly a lot of improvement still to come from horse number 4, Spirit Guide, who off the horses that are sort of right up there in the betting market, she could be the one that offers some value at around 6-1. Craig Zaki aboard for Dean Canamere. Race number 5, this is a class 2 contest over 1,200 meters. 14:55 is the off time, and race 5 will be the start of Jackpot 2. Dance Variety is at 5-2, Countdown at 28-10, 28-10 Yellow Porsche Road, it's then 5-1 and Better Bar those. Now this horse Dance Variety is obviously in some good form. When you have a look at his penultimate start, he met Thunderstruck, but if you ignore that run, he's won 3 in a row then. So he comes into the race in flying form, the best form he's been in his career. Richard Fourier aboard, he's gone up 6 points for his last performance, and given the manner in which he is winning, Graham, it wouldn't be a surprise if he were to win again, or would you be surprised if he got the job done with that 6-point penalty?
No, I think he can get the job done despite the penalty. It's interesting that Richard Ferree rides him for the very first time. The Adam Marcus stable continues to hold form really well, and the course and distance form for number 6 Dance Variety speaks for itself. As you say, he's won 3 of his last 4 starts. The only blip, if you could call it that, was in a strong race when 5th behind Thunderstruck. Admittedly, he was receiving a lot of weight from Thunderstruck, but this is the type of class in which Dance Variety is very effective. But this is an interesting race, Rahil. If you look at that race behind Thunderstruck, you will see that there was only a head separating Yellow Porsche Road and Dance Variety. Now, Yellow Porsche Road is 2 kilograms better off, with Dance Variety having gone up 6 pounds in the rating. But on that form in the Bantry Bay Stakes, which was admittedly in November, there shouldn't be too much to choose between them. But that was over 1,100 meters. Yellow Porsche Road has won both his races over 1,000 meters. He's still got to prove he goes the extra 100 or 200 meters, whereas Dance Variety is very much at home over the course and distance. But you cannot ignore Countdown. Forget his run in the King's Plate. They ran him there. They ran him over a mile, and he was simply outclassed, as you would expect. But his penultimate start behind Cosmic Highway and the Cape Merchants was a solid effort. And if he brings that back to the racecourse, then Countdown is certainly going to make his presence felt. Another interesting runner is Jerusalem Rain. Now, he's been struggling to find his juvenile form since relocating to the Western Cape. But if you go back again to November and you take a line through Future Variety, and that was the last time that Jerusalem Rain ran down the straight. That was over 1,200 meters. I think this is his best trip. He was beaten only lengths by Future Variety, and he was meeting Future Variety at level weights. Last time out, Dance Variety beat Future Variety, giving him 1.5 kilos. Future Variety came out after that and ran a very, very good second. So that form is all holding up well. So don't be surprised if Jerusalem Rain suddenly bounces back to his best form. He's come down 7 points in the rating over his last 3 runs. And then another one to consider is number 3, Paroshka, of bottom weight, because although he hasn't won for 527 days, he runs good races in defeat. And we've always known that he's got ability. So this could be his day. So Wild Dance Variety is my first choice. I really believe that he will make his a bold bid to go back to back here. This is a lot more trappy than you might think. I think Countdown is alive, Paroshka, Jerusalem Rain, Yellow Porsche Road, they could all win a race of this type. And the form is very closely matched, so I'm expecting a very competitive and hard-fought finish.
Yeah, it's a race where you certainly can't just discount any runner. It's a field of just 7 runners, so if you probably go in more than 3 runners in the pick 6, might as well just throw in the field here, because you could get a bit of a result in race number 5. And this was Jerusalem Rain. Well, he ran with the best of the best as a 2-year-old. He hasn't quite lived up to that potential at 3, but as you heard from Graham, drop in trip could just be the right move here from the yard. And I see the blinkers are going on as well, so that could spark some life back into him, and he could be a runner at around 6-1. Race number 6, this is a Cape Sea Stakes for fillies and mares over 1,000 meters. 3:30 is the off time, and Apollo Queen is your favorite at 5-2. It's 28-10 Silver Screen, 7-2 Where's the Party. Country Time is scratched. It is Kurandi at 13-2, and then 10-1 and Better Baldo. So it's a field of just 9 runners now, and Country Time, I'm sure that she's a horse that you would have probably included into the play given her last start, showing good improvement. But what's your thoughts on this race, Graham? Are you in the camp of Apollo Queen, Silver Screen, or you've found a horse at a bit of a price?
Yeah, it's one of these races where I think if you run the race 5 times over, you'll get 5 different results. They pretty much all ran on the 15th of January when Silver Screen beat Country Time by 2 3/4 lengths. As you say, Country Time is now a scratching. Apollo Queen was nearly 4 lengths behind Silver Screen on that occasion. They were then followed by Kurandi, Easy Money, Tibetan Voyage. They all come out of that run on the 15th of January. Apollo Queen has done enough to keep you interested. She is very effective over the course and distance. She has consistency on her side. Rachel Vennick in town to ride for the Paul Reeve stable. Takes a valuable 1.5 kilos off the back of number 3, Apollo Queen. But if Silver Screen was to reproduce her last run, then you would think that the penalty is not going to be enough to stop her. Interestingly, when she ran off this rating over 63, on the 10th of October against Apollo Queen, she finished 3.5 lengths behind Apollo Queen. That was on the 10th of October, but that was at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. And as I say, this is the kind of race, this is the kind of fillies low-class handicap that if you run it over and over again, you'll get a different result. But I've got to give the benefit of the doubt to Silver Screen. Grant van Niekerk takes the ride. He's got a very good strike rate for Greg Enion. He rides 2 horses on the day for Greg Enion, both of which can win. But Apollo Queen deserves the utmost respect. Where's the Party? Always there and thereabout. Comes out of a different form line. Richard Faree rode her when 4th behind Great Cat last time out and retains the ride, so that's interesting. Prior to that, Where's the Party was behind the very useful Montalina, who runs later on in this card. But one that you mustn't leave out, although well held on the last run, is Kurandi. I've just got a feeling that she's going to deliver a solid performance. She's come down 15 points in the ratings over her last 4 runs. A drop of 4, then a drop of 5, then a drop of 4, and since her last run, another drop of 2. So she's getting to the mark where Kurandi is suddenly going to come alive. So whatever you do, throw in Kurandi into the mix. So the short list would be Apollo Queen, Silver Screen, Kurandi, and Where's the Party? But you might also just want to throw in Easy Money, who's also plummeting down the ratings. Our top choice would be Silver Screen. I thought that last win was quite fluent, but Apollo Queen always a danger. Kurandi the lurker.
Certainly quite a few horses in with the winning chances here, and Corandi, the lurker, at around 13-2 in the market, some nice value. And even a horse like Easy Money, you heard from Graham touch on, that's at 10-1, then that filly could certainly pop up if deciding to put her best foot forward. So a race that isn't particularly straightforward. Silver Screen, fluent winner last time out, but she's definitely got competition in race number 6. Race number 7, this is a class 3 contest for the fillies and mares over 1400 meters. And your favorite is Montalina at 33-10. It's 4-1 Summer Lily, 9-2 Fun Zone, Unconquerable Ladies at 11-2. It's then 6-1 and Better Bar Those. Now this filly Montalina, despite not being on her best behavior last time out, she still managed to get the job done, beating Siddeley, and that was obviously with 52.5. She's gone up 5 points for that victory. Richard gets back aboard this individual, and Graham, the way that the manner in which she won last time out, I wouldn't be surprised if she were to follow up on that victory in what does look to be a competitive field. She's obviously got opposition, but she seems to be a filly that is only improving and getting better with each start.
Well, as you mentioned, this is a competitive race. Let's put that on the record first. It's a class 3 handicap for fillies and mares over 1400 meters. But you will know, Raheel, from our previous discussions and our previous shows, that I do think there's something special about number 4, Montalina. She's been a good filly for me to follow. I'm on the right side of her in terms of the ledger, and I'm going to keep following her. I know that at the weights, there are others that have a chance, particularly Japanese Rose, because if you go to the penultimate start of Montalina, Japanese Rose actually beat her at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. But on that day, Montalina was very unlucky. So Japanese Rose, for me, emerges as the principal threat. Last time out, Montalina beat Siddeley. Siddeley came out and ran a super race in a feature event. I'm expecting Montalina to win this, and to win this well. That's how confident I am, but that's my heart speaking. My head tells me that it is a fillies and mares handicap, Graham. So Humbagashly, don't get too carried away, because I just like Montalina. I think she's a real nice filly, and I think she's still got a bright future. I think she's got a lot of maturing to do. She still has to settle down. As you say, sometimes her behavior prior to the race actually getting underway is a little bit of a concern. But all of that being said, there's some very nice fillies in this race. Japanese Rose, we've mentioned. Last time out, she ran in the fillies guineas, so she plummets back to a class 3 handicap. She won 2 starts prior to that. She's well drawn, so you've got to throw in Japanese Rose into the mix. And Brett Crawford, well, his stable had a stellar day just the other day. My Flower Fate poses some kind of a threat. Unconquerable Lady should be held by Montalina. Same comment applies to Fun Zone. Summer Lily, she's done enough to suggest that her next win is not too far away, and perhaps Summer Lily is one of the immediate dangers, along with Japanese Rose, to Montalina. Flying V, good recent form. So it is a fillies and mares handicap. You've got 2 ways of playing this. You throw your lot in with Montalina, as I'm going to do. In the pick 6, I'm going to make her a banker. It's not my suggested bet on the show, but I'm going to be bankering Montalina in my pick 6. Duck or no dinner for me, but Japanese Rose and Summer Lily would be the immediate dangers as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I like that. Montalina, 33-10, could be worth a bet on the head. Banker for Graham in his personal pick 6, and she's a filly that can only get better with racing, and she's already won twice from 7 starts. Richard Free, certainly an eye-catching jockey booking here for Vaughan Marshall, and hopefully this daughter of the United States can reel off 2 in a row. Moving along to race number 8. This is the final race on the day. Hollywoodbets Bright Future Class 4, fillies and mares, 1800 meters. A wide open contest. It's a field of 11 runners. Field of 13 runners rather will face a starter. And Catalea is your 9-2 weak favorite. 6-1 Cloud Chaser, 7-1 Dual Agent. Family Power has seen a bit of support from 12-1 into 7-1. Typeface to a penny, all at 7-1. It's then 8-1 and Better Bar Those. Now, this filly Typeface, last time out, I thought she was terribly unlucky because there wasn't really that much racing room for her, and when Oswald Noach tried to go for a split between runners, the gap sort of closed, and he had to wait to make his move with this filly, and when the gap did open up, the winner eventually came right across her and probably intimidated her over the concluding stages of the race, and she was only beaten by just over a quarter of a length. So I think there's more to that performance than what it does read on paper, and she obviously stays on a mark of 78. She's a winner over track and trip, and I know that Vaughan Marshall had prepped us especially for that race, given that I think the owners were down or something of that sort. But whatever the case may be, I think 7-1 could be some nice value about this filly typeface in this contest.
Well, there's no doubt that Typeface has a real chance in what is the most difficult race in the card. As you mentioned, it's a Class 4 fillies and mares handicap over 1,800 metres. That run on the 13th of January, where she ran second to Epic Kleros. Well, behind her were Catalea, Cloud Chaser, Dual Agent, Women's World, Eternal Optimist, but they were bunched up. There was not much to choose between them, and this is a case again, if you run the race over many times, you'll get many different results. My only concern with Typeface is her consistency, that she has the ability to win a race of this nature if she reproduces her last run. Of that there is no doubt, and there's no doubt, as you mentioned, that she was unlucky, a little bit unlucky in that race, and might have gone on to win it. But I question her consistency. But this is the kind of race, the only surefire way of getting through the last leg of the pick six is to include the field, but you can't go the field in every race. So you might want to bank a Montalina, take your chances, and maybe go very light earlier on in the day. This race is a nice race to try and catch the quartet. My top choice would be Cloud Chaser from the inside gate, but she comes out of that very same form line where she was narrowly behind Catalea and Typeface. So, there's every reason why those other two fillies can confirm the form. I just want to highlight a couple of big ratings droppers that could get into the money and assist a huge quartet dividend. Number 3, Dual Agent, same form line. She's dropped £9 in the ratings over the last 3 runs. She was finishing like a steam train in that same race on the 13th of January when only a length and a quarter behind Epic Kleros. For me, she was the filly to take out of the race, and she's dropped another 2 points. So she's dropped 9 over the last 3 runs, and she could go well here. Busy Lizzie, probably not on too many people's radar. She's dropped £9 over the last 4 races, and last time out was a close 5th behind School Policy. Family Power, not a ratings dropper, but one to note that in her post-maiden run she ran against the boys. There's been some anti-post market support for her, so Family Power you've got to consider for your quartets as well. Those are the ones that I wanted to highlight, quite apart from the obvious ones of Cloud Chaser, Catalea and Typeface, who all were close up behind Epic Kleros last time out. Women's World is another ratings dropper that you've certainly got to throw into the mix for quartets. I can't be of much help to you in this race. I'm going to try and land the quartet. That's going to be my bet. My quartet race of the day is this one. It's not easy, but if you get it right, you could be handsomely rewarded.
It's certainly a race where everything about the race screams quartet, and as you heard from Graham, if you can get it right, the dividend is certainly going to be very, very rewarding in race number 8. And what does look to be a trappy contest, I mentioned Catalea, weak favourite at 9-2, and you could get just about any result come race number 8. And hopefully in the exotics you include quite a few runners, and you are smiling after race number 8 has been run. We're going to move along to the suggested bet now, and Graham will take us through his suggested bet, which is a bipot, and the bipot begins with the running of race number 1, and that is set to get underway at 25-1 on the afternoon. Graham, take it away.
Thank you, Rahil. As you said, the first leg of the bipot, banker number 2, Dark Winter. The second leg, another maiden juvenile plate, this time an open one. We're going to banker number 6, 1 Stripe. So we kick off with 2 bankers. Then in the third leg, numbers 1 Counter Attack, 2 Uguguletu, and 6 Tams 90. Uguguletu is a scratching. I'm going to leave all 3 in to double up with the toad favourite. I'm not going to change that. We should comfortably get through that leg. Then into the fourth leg, I'm going to go with numbers 1 Strata, 4 Spirit Guide. I'm expecting a lot of improvement from 4 Spirit Guide, and 7 Tequila Sky. Then the fifth leg, this is a trappy little race. Dance Variety is my first choice, but they're evenly matched. I'm going with numbers 1 Countdown, 3 Piroshka, 5 Yellow Porsche Road, 6 Dance Variety, and if you want to add in Jerusalem Rain, why not? And the last leg, trying to cover myself as much as possible. Again, I made the selection before the news that Country Time had been scratched. 3 Palo Queen, 4 Country Time, 5 Silver Screen, 7 Karandi, watch out for a good run from her, and then number 8, Where's the Party? So that's a suggested bipot for Tuesday's race meeting at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth.
It will cost you 180 Rand for one unit, well, for one full unit, and 18 Rand for 10%. Graham, thanks very much for your time. All the best. Have a wonderful day out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth if you are going to the course, and hopefully we've managed to guide the guys in the right direction.
Thank you, Rahil. As always, an absolute pleasure.
Thanks to Graham, and all the best with racing out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Tuesday. Hopefully it's a profitable day's racing.